say thank you very much for being here. I'm just the leadoff guy, but I'm going to be back to help clean up too. So, let's first of all say why we're here. Why are we here?
Felipe!
I can't hear you.
Felipe!
That's much better. Thank you very much. And we're here to make sure that Felipe actually goes somewhere too. Now we're going to hear from Ramon Gomez.
Former council member.
Former council member. Gosh, there's a bunch of electeds here.
On behalf of Felipe Hernandez, I want to take this moment to thank you all for coming. Your support and your energy makes Felipe's campaign a success. Every contribution, every person that goes out there and talks to a voter, it's going to make a difference this November. Felipe is a guy that has a tremendous heart, a lot of experience. I grew up in the same neighborhood as he did. He served our country, and he is he's a veteran. He's a veteran, and he cares about the issues. He's served many years in the city council. Before he got in the city council, he served as a library commissioner, a planning commissioner, and he early on he actually also played a major role in making sure that the Watsonville community is counted. So that we got the proper amount of resources back from the federal government. He cares about protecting jobs in the community. He's brought in hundreds of jobs. He's working to make sure that farm jobs are protected and the farmlands are and the farm jobs and farmland are protected in our community. He was a leader along with Greg Caput on defeating Measure B here in South County. And he's going to work hard as he did in the council and as he's done as a trustee to make sure that a lot of the projects that the county is currently looking at, including the new South County Service Center, a new park, and a new health clinic, and additional houses built in this community. Felipe, with our support, is going to deliver and he's going to represent us well. He's all about developing relationships with. He's a great listener, and he's all about developing relationships with the community and with other folks throughout the county and the state. That's why That's why he has such a wide depth of support, not only from the community but throughout the state and the county. So I want to introduce our key sponsor today, Alan Hopper. Please have a few words.
Thank you, Ramon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ramon. Thank you all for coming out. Can you hear me okay? We're co-sponsoring this event. We're proud to do so. I'm with a law firm called JRG Attorneys at Law. It's the largest law firm in Monterey County. Aaron Johnson is the J in JRG. He's the partner who brought me into the firm. He's on his way. He apologizes for not being here now. He had to teach a class at CSUMB, and he's going to be here shortly and looking forward to seeing everyone. I just want to say briefly why we are supporting Felipe's campaign. Look, we're deeply rooted here in the Valley. I've lived for years and worked for years in Santa Cruz County. We represent, we're a full-service law firm, but we represent a lot of farmers, a lot of agricultural related entities and businesses and farmers, and hemp and cannabis has become a big part of our practice over the past 5 or 10 years. And we represent most of the growers in Monterey County. We represent folks all up and down the coast. And I'm here to tell you that when it comes to the things that matter most to farmers and the things that matter most to our clients, the cannabis and hemp clients that we have, everything is local. It really matters who your local representatives are. I don't have to tell any of you that. But, you know, I was part of the drafting committee that changed the state laws to set up the framework for this legal cannabis industry. But part of that law is a huge amount of discretion comes down to the local level. And we need a voice like Felipe's on the Santa Cruz Board of Supervisors. He has big shoes to fill, but he's the man to do it. And I encourage you to turn out to vote And Lowell's going to take you up in a few minutes here to get out your checkbooks, because it all comes down to our support and our financial support of Felipe's candidacy. So thank you for coming out tonight, and please support Felipe.
I want to introduce some three folks to come up and speak for a minute. Three items. One is housing, one is the rail trail, and of course protecting our ag land that we have. So I'm going to introduce some folks. Elizabeth Madrigal to come up and speak. And I'll give her a minute to speak about housing. During the last two meetings that we had for our downtown revitalization, she really pushed the city to advocate, to push the city to push for housing within our downtown revitalization plan. And she's the one that really advocated to push the city for those 4,000 units within the downtown, to really change the zoning within our downtown, to change the parking requirements, to change the size of the buildings within our downtown, so that we can have actually not 200 houses or 400 houses within our downtown district, but 4,000 houses within our downtown district, to increase the density units within our downtown, so that young people can afford housing within our downtown. Because, to afford 1 acre houses is not something that's going to be viable within our county. As everyone knows, it's very expensive. It's the second most expensive county in the country. So we need smaller units, higher densities that younger people can afford, that working people can afford. So I want to introduce Elizabeth Madrigal. She wears multiple housing hats, actually, so she can talk about the hats.
Hi, well, I'm going to try to be quick and project because my voice is a little out, but Felipe gave too much credit for me. He's on the advisory committee for the downtown Watsonville specific plan. That's really going to be a great opportunity to bring more housing right where it's needed. Downtown Watsonville, making all of those connections with transit, services, schools, parks, right where we want housing to be. And I'm personally supporting Felipe too, because he's been the champion we've needed in housing in Watsonville the whole time he's been around. He's continuously stood up for farm worker housing, for housing for all folks in Watsonville. And I believe as supervisor, Felipe is going to continue to do that. Felipe is one of the few people in the entire Pajaro Valley and Monterey Bay that actually walks the walk and talks the talk. So really proud to be here to support Felipe, and hope you all do too.
So I also want to bring up someone from Equity Transit. It's important, for me, it was near and dear to my heart, because in 2016, when I was mayor, I had a group of about 11 workers that came to me to talk to me about, it wasn't even about rail trail, it wasn't about transit, but it was about their working conditions. And one of the things that they talked to me about was, they asked me if they wanted to form a union, and they said that, I asked them at the end of the meeting what was their main issue, what was their main concern, and they said they wanted to change their work time from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And I was kind of baffled and asked them, why do you want to do that? And they said they can save money and earn more money. And I asked them, don't you want a pay raise? And they mentioned, at that time, they mentioned Alejo's wage increase that they did at the state, and that they were fine with that, but they could earn more by changing their schedule, by not paying the extra hour and a half for childcare that they have to pay by being stuck on Highway 1 going to Santa Cruz, going to work every day, hour and a half going, an hour and a half coming back, simply if they just shifted their schedule to 10 o'clock and they'd get there in 26 minutes, as opposed to 1 hour and a half at 8 a.m. And it clicked. It was better quality of life. So they, not only that, they said they get to spend more time with their families, with their children, with their husband. There was only one guy, by the way, there was 11. It was 10 women that were the leaders of this, and one guy. So they get to spend more time with their husbands, more time with their children. So not only was it better wages for them, in essence, but better quality of life. So for me, that was what Measure D was about, the fight. And that's what Rail Trail's about. So I want to introduce Lonnie here from Equity Transit.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to shout. Thank you so much to Felipe. Felipe was one of the people that got on board and came to speak in the city of Santa Cruz when we had the first National Transit Equity Day event here in Santa Cruz County. So thank you to Felipe for being committed. And what is he committed to? He is committed to transportation that will get our community members to where they need to go. They need to get to school. They need to get to work. They need to get home with their families. We need to cut out 2-hour commutes for our nurses that work in Salinas because they can't afford to live here and serve our people. And that's going to be Felipe that serves our people and our community. A lack of robust public transportation is the #1 barrier to success and to opportunity in this country and in this community. It's tied directly into housing and all of the other things that are falling apart in this country. And thank goodness that we have young people that are stepping up and people like Felipe who are willing to advocate for better transportation in this community, better housing in this community, and making sure that we get our workers back to this county working hard for us and for them. Okay, that's really important, and I really appreciate it, Felipe. There's no other comparison. There's no other candidate that is competing against him because the other candidate didn't step forward and wouldn't support that. This candidate, Felipe, is fully on board with doing those things for our community, so let's be fully on board and supporting Felipe. Thank you so much.
We have to make sure that we have smart planning in our community and that we protect our farmlands. I think that given our recent planning that we did with our downtown district, you know, our downtown district isn't that big. It goes from 4th Street to Pajaro Bridge, from Walker to Brennan, right here. We're able to identify almost 4,000 housing units that we can create just in those 7 blocks that we can create. Imagine how much more housing units we can create if we change the densities, the height of buildings, and change the archaic parking limits that we have on Green Valley, on East Lake, and on Freedom Boulevard. The county wants to do housing on Freedom Boulevard. They want to build up. We got to change those parking limits, archaic parking limits. The city of San Francisco is already doing that. There's a lot of cities that are already doing that. Oakland is doing that. You know, people can't afford 1-acre lots anymore, especially here in this area. In this county, to buy a house, it's already, the average is 1.4 million in the county. Here in Watsonville, you have to spend $850,000, $900,000 for a house. So we need to create smaller units, higher density units, and the only way to do that is to build up and to reduce the parking that we have to have. So we got to do that on all our transit corridors that make sense, where we can have buses that go there, and we can have, you know, different transit corridors and multimodal transportation. So we got to move in that direction, you know, for the sake of our future generations, for the sake of our planet, and for the sake of our for the sake of our farms too. We got to have food on our table, and this part of our country represents the essence of what puts food on our table. So I want to make sure that we do protect our farmland, and I want to make sure that we do have smart planning for our future generations and affordable housing for our future generations. And you know, we can't have $1.5 million homes for people. That's not going to, $1.5 million homes, $1 million homes are not going to be for our people here in Watsonville. Our community, Santa Cruz, is, you know, it's not popular, due to popular belief, it's not Silicon Valley in Santa Cruz. It's a tourism economy. Watsonville is an agricultural economy. You know, people can't afford $1 million homes, or $1.5 million homes. We need affordable homes. And so we need to make sure that we create those homes. And we need to increase the density and reduce the parking on those homes. So I want to make sure that we protect farmlands and do smart planning and have an urban growth boundary within our community and build the housing that we need. Is there anything else that you guys would like to say about the actual measure? Okay, yes. And so, you know, I want to say thank you to all of you because we're able to protect the rail and trail this last June. And thank you to Greg and to Luis and everyone that was together as a community. We're able to save our community hospital. Yeah. And also I want to thank, of course, you know, the same folks, you know, together as a community, we're able to secure the funding that we needed to protect our flood zone here for Pajaro River flood zone to protect our community. But again, as supervisor, I want to make sure that we follow through with all these projects, that we build the housing that we need, and I want to make sure that we keep our community's character and still do the smart planning, like I said, and build the affordable housing that we need in our community. You know, people ask me, last night I had someone on Facebook ask me what it takes, you know, well, what are you talking about? You say affordable housing, but what are you going to do? And I say, well, first of all, the first one is very simple. You have to vote yes on affordable housing, right? Right? And that's the first one, right? Y'all know some people don't vote yes on affordable housing. And so we have to make sure that we bring those projects forward and that we make sure that those projects, that we streamline them and that we bring those not only streamline them, but we fast track those affordable housing projects, and we reward people that want to bring affordable housing projects. We reward them by reducing their impact fees, reward them by making sure that nonprofit housing providers, we reduce their impact fees as well, and so that we have more projects within our county. We have more projects within our cities. That's how we're going to meet our RHNA numbers. You know, it's definitely not by voting no on these projects. It's by welcoming them, rewarding them, and voting yes on these projects. You know, I think that one of the things that we also have to make sure is that we have safe, anytime that we work on our roads, that we have, anytime we dig on our roads, we have to make sure that we have safe bike and pedestrian infrastructure. You know, regardless of anything, we're going to have more folks here, and we have to make sure that pedestrians are safe and bicyclists are safe. So we have to make sure that we provide for bike and pedestrian infrastructure within our roads. We have the funding for the hospital, but we have to make sure that we follow through and make sure that the workers are provided for. We have to make sure that, you know, if the workers are not healthy there, our community is not going to be healthy there. So we have to make sure that the workers are healthy and safe in their work environment, so that our community is safe and healthy in our community. So that's one of the things that we have to make sure that happens, but we have to follow through with that as well within our Watsonville Community Hospital District. And you know, I think that it's, as someone mentioned, that it's, you know, I have support from all levels, right? From the folks in the public sector, private sector, housing, from law enforcement, of course, the, you know, different folks in all industries. And so I'm always willing to have conversations with people, with everyone. So that's what what's one of the things that I want to put out there, is that I'm always willing to have an open line with everybody and anybody, and I'm always willing to learn from people and grow. So thank you very much for being here.
I'll speak up as loud as I can. Honesty, integrity, and character always matter. This is a man that's got all three of those. Even if you don't agree with him, you can talk to him, and he treats you with respect. This is the guy that served our country in the Army. He's got the backing of a lot of veterans in the community, and he's always stood up for all the things that we've been working with Ari and Lowell and Aurelio, the Pajaro River big project, the Watsonville Hospital, also educational for the Pajaro Valley High School, and whatever. And so this is a guy you can back, this is a guy you can trust, and the transportation issue too, the train, there was a group in Aptos that didn't want the train to go from Santa Cruz to Watsonville. And Felipe stood up. At the time, nobody knew if it was a popular issue or not. But that proposition to stop the railroad at Aptos and not continue to Watsonville lost 78% to 22%. And anyway, we're going to get out the vote. We have to get out the vote in November. There's a lot of people that will say I'm all for you, and then one day after the election they go, well, I didn't vote. We got to make sure we get people out there. And anyway, Felipe, thank you for being my friend. I'm honored, and God bless you.
Thank you.
We have an opportunity here, and let's don't lose it. This is going to be a landmark, and let's make it a landslide as well.
Oh yeah.
In here.
Felipe reminds me of one more important thing. One more important thing. If you happen to be with a union or a political action committee, it's $1,000 is the limit. So let's talk to our friends. Let's make some new friends too, because we've got a long way to go, but we're way on the road. And so let's get Felipe elected coming right up, okay? Felipe!
¡Se puede! ¡Se puede!
¡Sí se puede!
¡Se puede!
¡Sí se puede!
Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Thank you. Let's make this happen.